Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Tomb Raider. This level is Natla's Mines, and it's a complete change from any level we've done in the past, really. It's kind of got the aesthetics of the first level of caves, in that it's very cave-like in some parts, but this is nothing like we've done, and there are assets and environments that we've never seen before. And this is kind of where this game really starts to challenge the player. It will start to punish you for the smallest of mistakes. It does not pull its punches with how fast your reactions need to be. And it gives you no hints, no clues, no ideas for what you're actually supposed to do or where you're supposed to go. And all on top of that, we have lost all of our guns. At the end of the last level, when we got ambushed by those goons and Natla, we had all of our weapons removed. So we are completely defenseless. Now, that said, this level does not have many enemies at all. And one of the first things we're going to do is get some weapons back. Now, this whole thing here, the behind the waterfall trick, which if you've seen me play any other games, you'll know that I am a fierce advocate of there is always something behind the waterfall. And this is the second time in this game they've done this. This is the exact same thing. The only difference is, if you didn't know this was here, you'd be hard-pressed to find it, because this water dropping down acts as a complete wall. You have to swim under it in order to actually get by it. And even trying to jump through it, it'll bounce you back as if it's a solid wall. So really, really sneaky. And this is actually the first place you kind of need to go. You can do it in a little bit of a different order, but this is the order I tend to do it. So you've got a passage that goes straight up, but we don't want to go that way just yet. There's a switch hidden around the corner here, and that's what we're going to hit first. And this is going to open up a door with a switch behind it. Where is this, you might ask? Well, that's the question, isn't it? They really don't give you any kind of ideas or clues as to where these doors or things that you open are. So you just kind of have to wonder if this is your first time and you don't really know where you're going. But, that said, this level does involve quite a lot of backtracking and back and forthing anyway. Even if you're doing it like in the right order, you go back and forth quite a lot because you open doors in different places and then you have to go back to them. So this room here, we've got a mining thing on rails. I think it's a drill. That will become important a little later, but firstly we need to pull this block out. And behind this block is the door that we just opened. So you wouldn't even be able to get to this had you not known about the waterfall. And this switch opens another door. Where's that door, you might ask? Well, here we go again. So, having found that, which is sneakily hidden enough, and there are a lot of those kind of situations in this level. There are so many sneakily hidden places, not even secrets, that you actually have to go and do. That this is such a tough level for first-time players. So we have to go back around this way, and this time we're going to take the straight path. So up and around here, this is the door that we just opened. So you can see why we didn't come this way first, because we had to open the first door to open this door. And it's just so convoluted and back and forthy. Now, this jump can be tricky, because it's kind of hard to see. I'm just going to take a couple of steps to the side here. That barrier, that's like, it's kind of it's facing us sideways from here. That is considered solid, and if you hit that, you will bounce off it and down. So you kind of have to angle your jump to go around it, because it's very easy to hit, and it's kind of deceptive in how wide it is, because the bottom of it gets quite wide, and it's very easy to screw up that jump. It won't kill you. You'll just go straight back down to the water, but it's annoying to have to go the whole way back up again. So just bear that in mind. We're going to have to make that jump a number of times, so better get used to it. Now, coming into here, Lara will automatically look up, and it is a little bit bug. It kind of just disappears sometimes. Don't really know why. Up there is going to become very important, but we want to pick up this medipack first. Now, I'll show this, even though I'm not going to do anything with it yet. This kind of control room has, as well as these magnum clips, 3 receptacles on the wall. And we will get the 3 parts that we need for this, which are fuses, which is an item that we've never seen before. We've never seen fuses. We've never seen anything electrical. We've seen cogs and keys and all that, but this time we need fuses. And it's just another example of this level throwing completely new concepts at us. So this room, we're going to have to pull this block to a particular spot. And I'll show you how to know what that spot is in a second. So we need to pull it out. No. And across. And this block is going to have 2 functions. The first function is it's going to allow us to jump up onto the top of that kind of structure to our right, because there's no way to climb up onto the top of that with the barriers around it. But the reason it has to be there in particular and not a bit closer is it needs to be right under that hole. And it can be quite a difficult thing to see, so that square hole there, we need to be right under it. So once it's in position, we just take a run and jump across. And these breakable tiles, it's not too big a deal if you fall down them. You'll take a little bit of damage, so I just like to... Well, I just lied. I always thought we took damage if you fell down that, but anyway. You drop down here anyway, and this will bring you around to a brand... Well, not a brand new area, but it'll bring you around... And there's a... I think it's here, there's a sneaky little switch here that you could easily just run on by because it's quite camouflaged into the wall. And this switch doesn't open a door. See, I got you there. I almost fooled you. It releases the boat, which is going to be super important as well. So with that done, this is the hole that we moved the block under. So the reason we did that is so as we can drop and not die. Well, I don't think you'd actually die, but you would certainly take a lot of damage. So it's kind of 2 birds, 1 stone with that. In this room, we've got a path down that way, which we're going to take now, but we've also got another path over here. Now, I'm not going to bother going down here. There is another door. I don't know if I think it winds around before you get to it. There's another door that at the moment is closed. So there's no point in going that way yet. We will go there a little later. This way, on the other hand, is a bit deceptive. This door opens as you approach it. And this is kind of a tricky section. So if you look up, you'll see that there's a boulder there. When we get a little further here, there's a boulder there. And that's going to be a kind of a running thing in this level. There's a lot of boulders. Grab here. Do not climb up. If we climb up here, that boulder starts to go. What we need to do is shimmy over a little bit. I don't know why, but once we get to here, if we pull up, that boulder will not move. And it's important that that boulder doesn't block our route. So with that done, once we get to the end here, we've got a little doorway. It's it's kind of, you have to go through the right-hand side, because if you try to go, or the left-hand side, if you try to go through the right-hand side, you just won't fit. I don't know why Lara can't just kind of crouch a little, but hey-ho. And this is where we find the first of our fuses. A lot of things you could do wrong here and end up getting killed, like getting killed instantly by that boulder, or if the boulder runs down, then you kind of can't get through there. I don't know if you can manage to squeeze by. I don't think you can. Here we've got another 2 boulders. So I'm going to take a step forward and just jump straight back. And it's just going to... It'll just roll harmlessly in front of us. This second boulder, we can just stay on this left-hand path and it'll just roll right by. It's not too much of a problem. That's the easiest way I find to deal with that. Is just to trigger the first one and then wait, I guess, for it to roll by and then take the path that you need to. So dropping down here, this is back to the railroad. So that's the door we came in. And that's the boulder that rolled in front of us. So now, when we take a couple of steps forward, that boulder above us will start to roll. Which is, this time, what we need it to do. Because once it rolls... you see the way it would block the passage down there? I don't know if you can squeeze by it or not. I've never really tried. But it was blocking this path up here. And this is going to take us the whole way back around. The hole is here. And drop us back out the front of that door. Because this door only opens one way. Once you're in there and it closes behind you, it won't reopen if you try to go back. So just be aware that you have to kind of take that route behind where the boulder came from. Now, with one fuse gotten, we can go and get the other two. So the next one is going to be in a... Well, we have to do a couple of things to get to it. And this whole level kind of has a couple of different segments. We've got this fuse getting segment. Then we've got a lava segment. And then we've got a kind of... It's kind of a hard segment to describe. It's a very different segment where the whole environment changes. So now with this boat having moved, we can climb up onto it. Come on, Lara, up you go. And that will allow us to make the jump across to here. And what's here, you might ask? No, we don't actually have to move blocks this time. We have to jump over these blocks. And behind here, this is where we have a block puzzle. It's not a particularly complicated one once you know what you're doing. There's magnum clips here that you kind of need to grab before you move anything, because they'll be inaccessible once you move anything. You're looking for this block, the kind of darker looking one that has a crack in the middle of it. And we're going to pull it out. You can't push it. There's something behind it that prevents it from being pushed, so we need to pull it. And once it's here, just push it into that corner that we took the magnum clips for. Just straight in there. It fits in nicely. And we've got another block behind it, which is why we couldn't push it in the first place. So this one again, we need to pull out. There's a couple of these kind of long-winded block puzzles through this level. There's one particular one later on that takes a good bit of time. I'll point it out when we get to it, but you just got to be a bit patient with it. Now, we will pull it this side. Behind these is another switch. So many switches in this level, it's crazy. This one will activate the drill machine. And I don't know if you can get a snippet of it, but there's another one of these Natla boxes behind there. And that's exactly where we're going to go. I don't know, can you push this block? No, you can't even push this block. So you have to jump over it. You can't move it out and just walk around it. Okay. Now. Was it? Yeah, it was this way. I always get confused about where that room is, but it's just this next room here. So, with that moved out of the way now, we're going to take this block, and we're going to push it this time. We could pull it the whole way out, but we can't get any further if we do. We have to push it forward. And it'll get us to a point here where we can walk around it. But that's not what we want to do. We want to get on top of it first, because there's a little hole above it. And that's where we want to be going first of all. For, what do you know, another switch. This one opens a door this time. And you're probably looking at that going, geez, that doesn't look like a door I've ever seen. But you could also be saying that about every single door we've opened so far. And that door is actually where we're going to get our third fuse. So this room you kind of have to be careful in. There's a fuse just here, but I'm not sure if you can see it. Behind over there, there is an enemy. We don't want to trigger him. We just want to grab the fuse and get out of here. I don't think you can see him. He's kind of hiding around the corner there. If we go any further, he will trigger, but we've no weapons to fight him with, so just don't if you can help it. You can run away from him. He doesn't follow you particularly far. Like, I think the extent of the distance he goes is just to this room, but you don't really want to be dealing with him in such a small space, to be perfectly honest. So just do your best not to trigger him, and you should be fine. We will come back once we get some of our weapons and take him on then. But for now, we've got to go back up behind the waterfall again. And you remember that left turn after the control room that I pointed out, that we would open a door and go? That's where that door was. So we've got to make this jump again. Line it up properly. Once you get the hang of the jump, it's not particularly difficult. It's just kind of your first try, you're likely to hit that barrier. If you don't know it's there, like. Okay. So now, we're going to take this left turn. Actually, I don't think there's anything on top of this other building. I just want to have a quick check. I don't think there is. No. Just wanted to be sure. Okay. So this is going to take us around. And it's going to drop... Well, it's not going to drop us. It's going to lead us to a room with a very new kind of thing. So you're kind of looking at this going, what the hell is that? Well, it's a conveyor belt is what it is. And this door here is the door we just opened. Here is our fuse. We can't reach it. We can't get in there anyway. And the reason that we had to wait until we open that door is because in here is a switch. And if you guessed that this switch activated the conveyor belt, you'd be absolutely right. And it just dumps that fuse out at the end. And I think the texture of the conveyor belt moving, it's actually a really cool effect for the time, because I honestly don't think there's any moving parts at all. I think it's just a texture on each block moving in a repeated thing to make it look like they're all moving in unison, which is a fantastic idea. I think it's just brilliant, considering the limitations of the hardware of the time. Probably why these games were as big as they were, to be honest. So, with all 3 fuses, we're going to pop them in. Start at the left. So every time I put a fuse in here, I'm going to sidestep to the left and then jump to the right, and it will drop us right in front of the next one. I also love how you can see Lara behind the glass moving, like while the animation of the thing outside is playing. And then this is going to go absolutely thump. So, in there, the only thing that's in here is our trusty old pistols. Now, there is one thing that I kind of found a bit counterintuitive about this. I'm pressing the button to take out my weapons, and she's not. You actually have to go and equip them in order for her to start using them, because now we can. And that felt a bit counterintuitive to me, because I was kind of like, why would I have to equip them when I always just start with them? It's a bit weird, but once you know it, it's grand. Just remember to do it and you should be fine. The last thing you want is to like run into an enemy and then be hammering the button to take your weapons out and getting stuck. Like, why can't I? Where's my weapons? Anyway, this is where we're going to get our first secret. Straight up here. And it's an interesting one here. Not quite what you would expect. So we've got a couple of slopes here. We've got a little jump up to a ledge here. We can't reach that. We can't jump to that from here, I don't think. I'm actually tempted to try, to be honest with you. I've never actually tried it. I don't think you can make that jump. Let's have a try. Holy shit, you can. Would you look at that? No way. Huh. Well, that's another way to do it if you want to completely avoid avoid the trap that's there, which I'll demonstrate how I think how you would normally do it, or at least how I do it anyway. So all that switch does is just open the door out. So we're going to have to take a bit of a careful jump here because the roof is not going to be my friend. So normally this would open the trapdoor below you, which has a death pit below it. There's a magma pit, which is something we haven't seen before. And once you drop down, it'll kill you. But you just kind of have to keep jumping between the slopes, and it will close. And you just slide down onto it then and climb up. I didn't actually realize you could make the jump, which is cool. Which is really cool. So from here then, we'll just follow this the whole way around, down the slope, and it will drop us back out at the waterfall. There is usually a save crystal on this block, which is really tantalizing considering, like, you would have swam around here, probably seen it, and you just can't reach it. So anyway, with all that done, what we're going to do now is go and take on one of our little friends. So there's only 3 enemies in this level total. And they are all 3 of the goons from the little cutscene at the end of the last mission. So the one that we're going to take on first is the guy with the cowboy hat. And funnily enough, each of them has one of our guns. So I'm going to hit a quick save here because this can be a bit of a difficult fight because you've only got your pistols. But on top of that, these holes are instant death if you accidentally fall down them. They just lead straight to lava. But you can kind of see him glitching a little bit behind the pillar there as we move the camera. That's basically where he is. So we're going to go in guns blazing.
Ain't nothing personal.
So he has our magnums. So we're just going to try to keep enough of a distance from him that his shots aren't doing too much damage. You know you're doing damage. Sometimes he staggers. I tend to just kind of jump back and forth, give myself the best chance of not getting shot. I think he's nearly dead. Like, you really see that, like, the couple of shots he did hit me with, those magnums actually do quite a lot of damage. But we've got them now, and that's all that matters. So that's one of the 3. And he can be considered the hardest because he's got your magnums and you've got pistols and he thumps with them. So as long as you can kind of avoid taking the hits, you should be fine. Now, that noise is this big river of lava. And it's I find this to be a really cool animation, to be honest. I think it's just sick. We need to go down there. And you can see there's a platform there to the right. We're going to drop down onto that. There's also a switch up there that we need to get to. And we will get to. Some people, I feel, may have tried to make the jump from here. I don't think it's possible. I also have no idea what's down here. I've never gone down there. Oh, it's dead end. Is it? Yeah, it's dead end. Okay. Good to know. So you really need to watch out. Oh, okay, it's not going to show it. For lava pits like that. Like the slopes that just drop you straight down. They're so cruel. The slightest misstep. And, you know, you've lost all your progress. And even here, one slight misstep. And you're dead. You slide down into lava and it's instant death. It's so unforgiving. So from here, where you're supposed to go is jump across to the right there. I prefer to get this small medipack here. So once you hang, just release and grab again and she'll catch the bottom ledge. And you can grab your medipack. Where we're actually trying to get to is there. You know, we're going to go down that way. Kind of down the lava river. But we've got quite a ways to go first. So we're just going to grab this ledge and shimmy the whole way across. It's kind of the slowest part of this level and can be quite frustrating to die on because this does take quite a lot of time shimmying across things. Because she doesn't move nearly at full speed as to when she's running. And from here, there is another crack just here to grab. And again, we're going to shimmy the whole way across. So from here then, we've got a kind of tricky little jump here over to that other crack. I take a running jump just to give myself a bit of leeway. Because weirdly enough, if you take a running jump, you don't actually grab the crack. You grab the ledge above it. Which I always found really funny. And I always seem to accidentally climb up. It's just a slope, it just drops you back down. But anyway, once you've grabbed this, you can shimmy along to the right the way you would if you actually managed to get the crack instead of the higher ledge. You'll hit a point just here where you can't go any further, so you do need to drop. But this is also the biggest gap between this top ledge and the crack, so you've got a lot more time to release and grab, which is fine by me because I'm not rushing or trying to rely on my finger dexterity to release and grab again. Anyway. This path then is going to take us quite a ways around and down and around, and we'll eventually come back out at the lava river just here. Now, these magma bubbles you got to watch out for. They do hurt. Don't want to be getting hit by those. Don't want to jump across them because they will hurt you. Anyway, where we actually do need to go is we're going to need to jump across here. Try to keep yourself to the right, because with the way the roof is, it's quite narrow. So just jump across, and we're going to be going this way. Everything along here is a running jump. Every single jump. Ooh, didn't mean to do that. So we're going to take a run and jump to here. It'll be pretty close, but you'll be fine. And then we take a run and jump to here. And now we need to stop going forward, because we're going to go right. And this is where we get our second secret. And this is, again, quite a tricky secret to get. And I would imagine a lot of people died on their first few attempts at this. Because we've got to be quick. As soon as we jump across this, we need to run straight at that block and push it. Because as soon as we land here, there's a boulder coming down. And it does not give you a lot of time to move. And there it is. So that now, if you were to see the boulder and backtrack, you can't get to this block. You can't get in here, and there's nothing you can do. This is where our secret is. But what we actually have to do to get the items is pull this block out of the way again, because we can't reach up there. It's just too high. So what we do is we pull this one out and we jump up this way. Now there's kind of two parts of this secret, one a little bit more hidden than the other. So in here we've got Uzi clips and a large medipack, which we'll be only too happy to grab. And then we've got the second part, which is a lot more secretive. So we need to follow this around, and this is going to drop us back out. And this is the other end of the railroad where the boulder came from. And here we've got some more items. And I find it hugely important to get this because it gives you the shotgun before you're supposed to have it, because you're supposed to get this from one of the guys you kill. And I use this shotgun to fight the guy who drops it. I just find it much, much easier fight with the shotgun. Particularly considering the fact the shotgun does a lot of damage to you as well as you using it. So it's probably a tougher fight, but having the shotgun going in, it makes it probably the easiest of the three fights, weirdly enough. So to get back down, there's a number of holes here. So this one is just going to drop us back down to that room that we were just in. We tried to jump up that way to demonstrate that it was too high. The one on this side, on the other hand, will drop us down on the other side of the boulder, allowing us to get back to the main path. You can't squeeze by that boulder. I've tried so many times. It just doesn't happen. So, now that we're back here, I'm going to hit a quick save again, just so I don't have to go through all of that again. Take a couple of steps back, and take our running jump. Couple more jumps to do. And then this last one, you have to take the one on the left. The one on the right there is a slope. The one on the left here kind of looks like it would be, but it's not. It is flat ground. And then we can just drop off this side onto solid ground. And I'd like to say be done with the magma, but we're not. So this one is a little bit misleading. So it looks like it's a slope down into the lava and you would die. But it's actually only one tile of slope, and then it drops to a flat platform. So you can go the whole way down, and she'll stop just before the magma. So this trap is not punishing whatsoever. But you can also jump from that slope and grab. Or you can just jump from there. It's much of a muchness, but just don't panic if you don't get to jump from the slope. Now, this is the rather convoluted block puzzle I was talking about earlier. It's not difficult, it just takes a lot of time. So we need to grab this damaged TNT box. It's the only one of these boxes that you can move. And we have to move it quite far. So we're going to take it into that next room. And this is kind of where it's a little bit misleading as well. Because in this next room, it looks like there's one way to go, and it's why you're moving this block. But it's actually not. We will go that way later, but we've got another reason to be moving this block into here first. Come on, nearly there, Lara. Couple more pulls. And again, this is kind of one of those points where it's not difficult, it just takes time. Like with the shimmying, like you're just holding grab and moving, but you just take so long to do it that it can be a little annoying if you die and have to do it again. Particularly on PlayStation, where you only get a limited amount of save crystals. It can be quite frustrating to have to go back to the previous save crystal and do it again. And you get what I mean. Anyway, this is the last push we have to do. It leaves this block right in front of all this rubble. And you can see the gap over the top there. You would think that that's where you're supposed to go. And you're right, that is where we're going to go. But there is absolutely no way of getting up to there. So, where we actually need to go is to the side. Just here. Simple standing jump here will get you up, and we can follow this around. Now, we're going to have a couple of things to deal with, some kind of tricky jumps, particularly this next set. So, we've got another lava pit here, and we've got this slope, and this is a slope, it will throw you straight down, and it will kill you straight away. But where we actually need to go is to the side here. You can't make that jump straight across. That is a slope on the other side. It will throw you straight back down. The ones on the side here aren't. They're flat ground and you can land on them and do as you please. So that's exactly what we're going to do. As soon as we land here, that boulder down there is going to start to roll. So we're just going to wait it out. It's going to come right on by and drop into the pit. And then we're going to take another slightly tricky diagonal jump to get ourselves up. And annoyingly, that's not the only time we need to make that jump. But, you know, we know how to do it now, so it's not too much of a problem. So, from here, this will finally leave us out above the lava river at the switch that we were looking at earlier. So that's where we fought the guy with the cowboy hat, and that's where we did our shimmying down there and jumping and whatnot. So here we've got some more magnum clips. And you'd kind of be wondering, what could this switch possibly do? That was the TNT box blowing up. And that's why it's a bit counterintuitive as to how that works. So we now have to go back to that room, back over this jump again. There isn't actually any items to be grabbing apart from those magnum clips to the best of my knowledge. So once you go back, you can't come back this way. But there isn't really anything that you've missed. So it's not too much of a problem. Those magnum clips, I believe, are the only thing that are here. So now we can drop down. There's no way to get back up here once you drop. And our TNT box has completely destroyed. But it has cleared this passage for us to walk. So that's why it can be a bit counterintuitive as to what that box is for. Now, this next room always struck me as really weird. Because when I look around this room, to me, it looks kind of like a skateboard park. And we're going to pop a quick save because this is where we fight the second of the enemies in this level. I prefer to run around to the right here. You'll get a bit of dialogue from him. But just pop away. Just pop away with your guns. Hit a heal whenever you have to. He's got the Uzis, which honestly, I find this guy to be hands down the hardest. Even with the magnums, he just deals so much damage. You can stand and just tank it. I like to kind of do a combination of both tanking the damage and kind of moving to try to minimize how much damage I'm actually taking. But once you kill him, you get the Uzis. And you can kind of see why I think this looks like a skateboard park, combined with the fact that that guy actually had a skateboard, which is like so weird and odd in a game like this. Like, what kind of a villain has that kind of gimmick? It's just weird. Just a bit weird. So this is the way we're going to go in a second. But before we do that, we have one last pickup to grab in this room, and then one other place to go. So once you run around to grab this second set of Uzi clips, all of these pits around the room, they're mainly filled with lava. But this one right here, this one's water. And this is where our third and final secret of this level is. Again, this door opens as you approach it, and you get your small medipack, some Uzi clips, and a large medipack. Come on, Lara, you can grab it. I don't know what it is about trying to get her to pick up items underwater. She just seems to swim by them so many times. To get out of here, you just take this first surface. And you can climb up and go the whole way around. And we'll drop straight back into that skateboard park looking room. Up we go. And we can drop straight back in. And this is right where we got our Uzi clips. So, with that all said and done, we can continue on. And this is kind of where it gets weird in terms of environment, because it just completely changes after this room. This way. So we've got a fairly long tunnel here. And we've got to be careful, because as soon as we come in, we're going to get a boulder coming down our face. Just jump to the left. He'll roll on by, but it will also trigger another boulder as we go further up. So just jump out of the way, and that'll trigger a second one. We can just jump out of the way. As long as you take that slowly, should be fine. Just don't try to sprint up. And there is another boulder at the top, which is very easy to just run straight into. Once you know about all those, and once you take it slowly and at your own pace, you should be fine. So here we've got a number of ledges that we need to climb and jump up. So from here, we take this diagonal jump. Standing jumps the whole way. Whoa, no, didn't mean to do that. Meant to hit walk. Didn't hit it. Okay, so from here we do a full 180. And we jump up to this one. From here we look to our left and jump up to this one. And again from here we look to our left and jump up to the last ledge. Now, climbing up to here is an entirely different change of environment. And it's a bit odd because we've never really seen these kind of walls before. But this is kind of the point where this is all going to start changing into like the environment of the last couple of levels. We can't really do anything else here except push because there's not a whole lot of space behind us to go back into. So we need to push this all the way into the next room. Now, from here, don't push it any further. Well, I mean, I don't think you can anyway. Yeah, you can't push it any further. And the reason behind that is going to become evident in a second. So we're going to jump up to here. And again, we're going to push this block. We're going to push it the whole way into the next room. This is kind of the one of the hardest to figure out block puzzles of this game. Just because it's so convoluted in my opinion. Now, that door to the left there is going to be important in a little bit. But where we actually have to go is just drop down here. And this block, this one right here, is the reason the block from the first room can't be pushed forward any further. Because this is in the way. Oh, whoops. So, grab it, Lara. Once we pull this block, and I don't think we can actually pull it any further because there's not enough space behind us, we have to go the whole way back to the first room. And we can push that block once more. Oh, no, wrong side of the room. So now we can push this. And it's going to reveal to our left a little, well, not a whole lot, but it's a door and a switch. And to the best of my recollection, this is also where there is another save crystal, I think. With that open, that door is not the one right beside the switch, counterintuitively again. The door is actually this one, the second room. So we're going to follow this the whole way around. And we can only push this block. We can't go back because of the step behind us, so we have to push it forward. And now this is just where it gets cruel and tantalizing. There's a door right ahead of us. When we walk onto the next tile, that door will open. But as we run towards it, it just closes again. Because it's cruel like that. So what we need to do is hit this switch, which doesn't open this door. It opens an entirely different door. There's also nothing here, just for anyone who was interested. And again, every time we walk on that, it opens. And it's just mean like that, to be honest. It's just really mean. So, the door that opened is the one back in this first room. And this is how we get out. That door to the right there that you can see, that's the door that keeps closing on us. So this is how we get out. This is where we fight our third and final guy, who has our shotgun. But this is also our shotgun now, so it doesn't matter. So we're going to pull this out. I'm going to quick save, just in case I screw this up, because he does deal quite a bit of damage. What you want to do is keep as close to him as possible. But you're going to want to try to stay behind him as much as possible. And not let him get behind you like that. No, there we go. There we go. He does take quite an amount of damage, because he just absolutely absorbs those bullets. But he drops our shotgun. I don't know if that actually gives us more ammo, but I like to pick it up just for completion's sake anyway. So, this door here to the left is that long corridor with a switch there that opened this door in a really convoluted way. So now that we're out of there, we can see this huge pyramid in all its majesty. And through those doors ahead of us is the end of the level. But, it's locked. So we have to find the key. How do we find the key? Well, we've got to climb the side of the pyramid. See all those kind of shadowed sections? They're not slopes, meaning that we can take standing jumps and make our way along them. You don't have to do a whole lot of maneuvering. Standing jumps will usually get you the whole way up. Just don't rush it, and it is very easy to... Whoa, Lara, can I see in front of me, please? There we go. And once you get to the top here, where you're actually aiming to go, is you see that kind of shadowed part on the very side, almost touching the cave wall? That's where we're looking to get. So we're going to have to jump all the way across and just slide down. And it'll drop us off here. And we can make our way in here. Again, not a whole lot in here, just a switch. And that switch does not open the doors to the end of the level. But what it does open is the last of the golden doors that were back here. So the one to the left there is back to the long corridor. The one facing us is where we came from. We've opened this one on the right, which gives us a large medikit, a really, really subtly placed set of Uzi clips that are very easy to miss, and this pyramid key. And with that in our possession, just in case anyone's kind of wondering, there isn't actually anything else in this room. I have in the past checked on top of all of these and around the back of all of these, and there's nothing here. Which is like really surprising because I always felt like there should be something up here, but it's completely empty. So with all that done, we're going to pop this key into the lock and open the door and finish the level. So once we go in here, we're going to get a small little cutscene. Well, actually, it'll give me the level completion screen first. So yeah, here we go. Natla's mines, 3 kills. That's all, just those 3 enemies. They've probably killed people more times than all the rest of the enemies in the game combined. These 3 guys are tough because you've not really got much resources to work with. Particularly the first guy, definitely the second guy because he's got your Uzis. Anyway, 28 pickups, 3 secrets out of 3, and 45 minutes for the level. It is quite a long level even if you know where you're going. And that kind of sets the standard for the next few levels. Even the next level, it can be quite long because it's difficult. The next level is really difficult. Not because of any particularly convoluted puzzles or mazes. It's just tons of really strong enemies that you have to contend with. And I think it's the next one that has probably the most iconic puzzle, I guess you could call it, in the game. I'll point it out if we get to it. But we'll see all that in the next part. We're going to get a nice little cutscene after this, so I'll let that play, and I'll see you in the next part, guys. Until then, take care. Thanks for watching.